Hi, I'm John LeVan. For today's project, I'm going to demonstrate how to set up a two-post tremolo on an American Standard Strat. So my client loves the way this guitar plays, thinks the action is perfect on it. However, his trem is flush to the body. He wants me to set it up so that it floats, so he can get a half-note draw on it. So before I make any adjustments, first thing I want to do is take measurements. Because my client loves the way the action is on this guitar, I want to make sure that we put it back to exactly where it was. However, in order to float this bridge, I'm going to need to raise the bridge and then lower the saddles. The first step in measuring the action, I always take a capo and put it on top of the first fret. Reason for that is to take the string nut out of the equation. Next, I'm going to grab my action gauge, and at the 12th fret, I'm going to measure the height of the string from the top of the fret to the bottom of the string. And it looks like the high E, we've got about 3/64, and the rest of the strings tend to graduate up to 4/64 on the low E string. So that's a perfect action for this particular player, and that's our target. Okay, now that we have our measurements, the next two things I'm going to do is remove the bar. I'm going to flip the guitar over and take the back plate off. Now that I've removed the back plate, we can see that there are 5 springs holding the inertia block of the trem to the claw. This is way too many springs in order to float that tremolo. So what we're going to do is I'm going to remove a couple of these springs, and I'm going to rearrange the angle of the springs. That way we can maintain a very consistent tension on the trem. So of these 5 springs, it looks to me like these 3 black ones are stock. These other 2 look like they're aftermarket. So what I'm going to do to remove those is first I'm going to put the bar back into the tremolo, and that way I can keep some tension on it while I pop these 2 out. Now that I've removed the 2 aftermarket springs, I'm going to reconfigure these. So I'm going to put this one in the center. This one I'm just going to move over 1 notch on the claw. And here I'm just moving the ground wire over. That's the ground for the bridge, just to keep it out of the way so it doesn't catch on a spring. Now that I've reconfigured the springs, I'm going to tune this guitar back up to pitch and see if the bridge moves at all. See if it rolls forward or if it remains flush to the body. It appears it's staying relatively flush. The next step is going to be to raise these 2 posts to see if the bridge floats at all or if it stays flush to the body. If it stays flush to the body, then we know we need to readjust the claw in the back of the guitar to take a little bit of tension off those springs. So using a flathead screwdriver, I'm going to turn the post counterclockwise, just a couple of turns, to raise the overall bridge. Now, as with any adjustment that you make on a guitar, every time you make an adjustment, you should always tune it back up to pitch. Okay, so now we've raised these posts a little bit, tuned it back up to pitch, but yet the bridge is still flush to the body on the back side. So that tells me I need to go through and readjust the claw right here, back those screws off a little bit to take a little bit of the tension off the springs. Now that I've adjusted the claw, guess what? It's time to tune it back up to pitch. I'm looking to see just how much float we have on this tremolo. And quite honestly, it could roll forward just a little bit more to get it level with the body. Plus, I doubt that we have a half-step draw here. So I'm going to make a few more adjustments to the claw, see if I can get this to roll forward a little bit, tune it to pitch, and see where we're at. So here I'm just backing the screws off a little bit, maybe a quarter of a turn or so. Then I'm going to tune it back up to pitch and see if that tremolo is floated enough to get that half-step draw. So at this point, we've readjusted the claw several times, and sometimes it takes several times. We've retuned the guitar. Right now, the trem looks very, very good. We've got it just to the right position. I'm going to check it out and see if we still have that half-step draw. And it looks pretty good. The next step is going to be to lower the saddles to get the action back to where it was before, since we did raise the bridge. The design of this tremolo doesn't allow you to have an exactly uniform half-step draw, not on every string, but you can get awfully close, and really that's about the best you can hope for on this type of tremolo. So using a hex key, I'm going to lower the action here at the bridge saddles. Try to get this guitar back to the comfortable action it was before. Keep in mind that not all Strats are going to use the same kind of tool. Sometimes it's a hex key, which can vary in size, or it could be a flathead screwdriver. Next, I'm going to tune it back up to pitch and kind of see where we're at from there. So far we've adjusted the trem, we've got it to float, we got that half-step draw, and we got the action down where the client wanted it. So at this point, it may be a good idea to adjust the intonation one more time just to make sure it's perfect. Other than that, it's ready to play. For Premier Guitar, I'm John LeVan. Thanks for watching.
Don't forget to sign up for PG Perks, your all-access pass to exclusive gear giveaways and discounts on PremierGuitar.com.